Good morning and welcome. I'm Reverend John Riley, Senior Minister at Unity Palo Alto Spiritual Center, and it's just a joy for me to welcome you to our live celebration service, Shelter and Grace Edition. We're so glad that you're with us today. And if you're new to Unity, what we want you to know is that Unity is a worldwide, inclusive spiritual movement, welcoming people from all walks of life. People who are looking to have a deeper relationship and experience of spirit in their lives, people who are looking to express greater health, wholeness, and abundance, people who are looking for spiritual growth, transformation, or to simply live life better. We teach positive, practical spiritual principles that you can apply in your life every day to help you live a more joyful and abundant life. We are so blessed this morning. We have with us Rusty Gaylord as our platform leader. Margot LeDuc is our soloist with Russell Norman on piano. And so we start our service this morning with our opening song. Margot, take it away.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning and welcome to Unity Palo Alto's online service. My name is Rusty Gaylord and it is great to be here with you this morning. Unity is part of a worldwide movement of prayer, publishing, and education, teaching positive, practical, spiritual principles that you can apply every day to help you live a more joyful and abundant life. Reverend John likes to say, to do life better, and who doesn't want more of that? We are welcoming and inclusive as a community, and wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here with us. We have 5 core principles that guide us on our spiritual path. Our first principle is God is. There is only one power active in the universe and in our lives, and that is God, the good, omnipotent. Our second principle, God is the substance and intelligence innate in every person and in all creation, and specifically in you as well. Our third principle, thoughts in mind produce after their kind. We have the ability to affect our world, and when you change your thinking, you can change the world. Our fourth principle is the practice of prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation connect us with the creative, constructive power of God to work in and through us. And finally, the fifth principle is the practical application. Yes, you have to apply these principles in order to see a result in your life. And as you do apply the principles and you live according to these truths every day, we become what we were meant to be, which is living expressions of the image of God, which Unity calls the Christ. These 5 core principles guide us in living our vision statement, and I invite you to affirm our vision statement with me. All together, centered in God, we co-create a world that works for all. And so it is. We have many opportunities here for spiritual growth, sacred service, and celebration in our community. There are a couple going on right here today, right after church ends, which we're going to share with you. And the first one is the Spiritual Center Update Meeting. This happens by Zoom, and this is both a financial update, which we'll get from our treasurer, Daniel Franzen, as well as an update on the overall status and health of our spiritual center from Reverend John. Please join us. You can go to the website for the information and sign up there. It's the same Zoom link as what our normal spiritual coffee talk is. And that's at 11 o'clock right after the service today. Also starting today at noon is the Kids Choir with Margot. Margot has been a pioneer here on Zoom over the last year, learning how to engage and have productive and fun musical experiences. So there's already a group of kids who are registered. If you would like to join, for anyone all the way up to age 16, from, I believe it's age 6 to 16, you are invited to join. Send Margot an email. She will give you instructions on how to join. And that starts today at noon. Finally, I want to tell you about this book study and journaling and exercise that our licensed Unity teacher, Casey Wicker, is leading. And this starts on Wednesday, and it's a 6-week program starting this Wednesday at 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. So this is going to be a great program based on Eric Butterworth's book, In the Flow of Life. And there's going to be some reading time and some journaling time. And it's an invitation to take a deep dive into understanding what living in the flow means to you and how you can live from knowing your own divinity and be in that place of flow more and more in your life. So you're welcome to join. There's 10 spaces available, so you can register on the website as indicated there on the slide. There are a lot of ways to join us and to participate here at Unity Palo Alto. So check out our social media channel, check out our website. There's a lot of opportunities, and we'd love to connect with you and join in, have you join in and share in the good news that is Unity Palo Alto. Now, one of the favorite times of the Sunday for me is if you're watching on social media, if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Facebook, is to go in the chat and just say, Happy Sunday. Greet the others who are here with you. We can't do that live in person at the moment. Hopefully we'll get back to that soon, but you can do it virtually and appreciate the fact that you are here in a community, in a virtual community of everyone who is participating at this very moment. So just put a note in the chat, reach out energetically. You can put your hand on your heart and just send love and blessings out to everyone who is here watching with you and receive that same blessing back from them. If you are tuning in for the first time or you're back from a long absence, we'd love to hear from you. There is an online connection card on the website. So we invite you to fill that out. It's very easy at unitypaloalto.org/live. So happy Sunday. I'll pass it now back to Margot for our call to worship song.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary.
And now a reading from the Daily Word. Today's daily word is world peace. I will read the affirmation once myself, and then I'll invite you to read it with me. Today's affirmation: celebrating diversity and affirming unity, I am a presence of peace in the world. Join me now. Celebrating diversity and affirming unity, I am a presence of peace in the world. The road to world peace begins with my open-hearted acceptance of those who are different from me. Our world is vast and diverse, and its people come from a wide variety of cultures and histories. The more I learn about those whose lives differ from mine, the more I can appreciate their perspectives and empathize with their struggles. When I make the decision to understand others, I discover that judgment fades in the light of compassion. Today, I sow peace through my acceptance and understanding. Peace in the world grows as I join my brothers and sisters in celebrating the glory of human diversity and affirming oneness in God. The Bible reading is from Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Margot, back to you.
Come as you are, bring every burden. Come as you are, bring all your shame. Come as you are, I know you're hurting, but when you call upon his name and surrender, you'll never be the same. Come as you are, all who are broken. Come as you are, you'll find his grace. Come as you are, his arms are open. Let go and let God just have his way and surrender. Surrender, and you'll never be the same. Come as you are, your past is over. Come as you are, break every chain. Come as you are, he holds your future. All things are new. This is your day to surrender. Surrender, and you'll never be the same. To surrender, surrender, yeah, and you'll never be the same. So come as you are. Come as you are, you're not forsaken. Come as you are, all is forgiven. Come as you are. Come as you are.
Good morning, Unity Palo Alto, and welcome. Come as you are. Wherever you are in the world, know that you are in the right place at the right time right now, and that you are welcome here. As we move into the service, I want to first give thanks to a new opportunity for us. I'm working with the elves. The elves are going to help create a process for us to donate for our flowers. And I'd like to thank Sherry Robinson for our wonderful flowers this morning. Thank you so much, Sherry, and for your generosity. We're so grateful to you. Well, we are living this year empowered. We are practicing empowered spiritual living, really allowing our spiritual selves to take control, to surrender, as Margot's saying, to that essence of God that is within each one of us. And our focus this month is on releasing what doesn't serve us and renewing ourselves in that presence and power, that divine essence that's within each of us. And so I'd like to move to the affirmation for the month, and I'm going to affirm it. I'm going to read it once and then invite you to affirm it with me. And that way we have the ability to really allow it to sink in. I embrace my willingness to release all that no longer serves my highest good and renew my heart in the energy of faith and love. Would you affirm that with me together? I embrace my willingness to release all that no longer serves my highest good and renew my heart in the energy of faith and love. And so it is. And with a nice deep cleansing breath, we allow that affirmation to sink in with us, allow that affirmation to be a part of who we are today. Now, our focus today is on oneness. Our focus today is on living in oneness. Now, as Rusty so eloquently put, this is the idea of our first principle, that there is only one presence and one power active in our life and in all the universe, God. God is the substance in which we have our being. God is the energy of love, that harmonizing energy that flows in through and as us, that flows through the entire cosmos, our creation, that creates this experience that we're having and that we get to co-create with, that we get to interact with so that we can have our experience of life in this amazing universe. So that idea of oneness is so key in unity. So what really is it? I mean, we hear that word, oneness. What does it really mean? Well, I'll start with the definition from Merriam-Webster, where Webster says, oneness is the quality or state or fact of being one. Some synonyms: integrity, wholeness, harmony, identity, and unity. And that's really where unity got its name, is understanding that we are all here together as a spiritual community, as a one body of this divine essence that expresses itself individually as you and me. And I like to use the words by H. Emily Cady. Now, Emily Cady was one of the early New Thought luminaries. She wrote a book, Lessons in Truth. She wrote several papers which were then collected and put into a book called How I Use Truth. And this is from 1918, when she said, "We are one with God because we are the same nature as God, namely spirit, created in its image and after its likeness." We're made in the image, spiritual image and likeness of that divine presence. She goes on to say, we are one with each other because that same Spirit of God, this spiritual image, is inherent in each of us as our own divine nature. Each of us has within us that spiritual essence, that idea of that energy that flows in through and as us. I like, there was somebody, I'm blanking on the name, but the quote is that within us, there is a space that is untouched, that is pure, that is divine and of God. It's what unity might call the Christ consciousness. It's what you might call your higher consciousness, your better self, your better angel, whatever you want to call it. Within each one of us is that perfect potential. And it's from that untouched center that all of that divine essence, that love, that spiritual energy of faith, that spiritual energy that flows through us, comes from within us. And so it's through that and by embracing that and understanding that and working with that consciously that we then have this experience of life, that we then co-create our world, that we raise our consciousness out of the phase of consciousness of being a victim or being a victor. We raise our consciousness out into the idea of being a vessel, and we raise our consciousness even higher to understand our verity, our oneness with this divine essence, that true essence within us, that's who we are. And that all of this personality, this individuality is expressed is just icing on the cake, if you will, for some of us. For some of us, it may be something different. But all of that stems from that true essence within us, which is that untouched place that we can get to any moment in time. Emily Cady continues to talk about this when she says, this recognition enables us to behold continually or habitually the good that is present everywhere in spite of appearances that may seem to our human senses as not good. So wherever we are today, whatever experience of life that we're having, whatever situation is going on within our relationships, whatever situations that's going on within our body, whatever is showing up for us is showing up for us. Showing up for us. It's just what is, you could say. And then we get to choose how we respond to it. We get to choose as to whether we're going to allow this thing that's happening to drag us back down into that victim consciousness. We get to choose whether we want to live and rise up above that victim consciousness so that we can conquer those fears and be the victor, or choose to rise up and allow that loving presence to flow through us, and then choose to rise up and allow our identity to be that loving presence, that flow of love. Be the love that you want to see in the world. Be that. And so when we're living our oneness, while it is always true and always present, we're not truly living it unless we accept it, unless we own it, unless we live from it consciously. We make a choice. To understand our oneness with others means that we no longer expect them to do things according to our standard. Everyone take a nice deep breath. For it is primarily an inner oneness that we recognize. So when we recognize our oneness with each other and how we are always connected, we're recognizing that spot within somebody that is untouched, that pure potential, that Christ consciousness, that higher self that we may not, be experiencing because of we're living from our lens. But when we come from that higher consciousness to see the higher consciousness in another, we can identify that and see that even if it seems to be the opposite. We show our awareness of oneness with God when we leave others free to grow according to the divine pattern within. Everyone take a nice deep cleansing breath. For we experience and know our own oneness when we allow each other to grow according to their own divine pattern. Another word for this in unity might be divine order, and that's something that we hear quite often. I want to be in divine order. And a lot of times what I hear is that we're using that term divine order to mean everything's going the way I want it to go. Life is, happening and unfolding the way I want it to go. I'm in divine order. And when things don't happen that way, I'm out of divine order, or divine order doesn't exist, or this isn't working. But the truth is, the definition of divine order, according to unity, is this divine impulse that's always unfolding. It's the idea of bringing into manifestation the creativity and ideas that we receive from Spirit, from our consciousness, that we intuit. It's taking that infinite possibility that's coming from within us, giving it shape and focus, and bringing it into manifestation. That's divine order. And it's the process of the universe unfolding every day. It's the process of the buds on the wisteria, which are just barely starting to come out. It still looks like a bunch of twigs and sticks. But if you look close enough, there's a little buds all over. The potential. That's divine order. It's divine order when that tree dies and withers and returns to the earth. That's divine order. It's the orderly process of the universe. And when we move in and through it in coordination with it, when we co-create with this idea, then we're creating a world that can be uplifted. Then we're creating a sense of self-peace, a sense of inner peace, a sense of outer peace. We can create a sense of joy and love in our relationships when we're living from that. And in coordination with that, we are co-creating our world. That's that divine pattern within us that's seeking to express through this order called divine order. This does away with any tendency to dominate another in our desire that he, she, or they unfold their life in a way that we think is right. Take another deep breath. So this idea of divine order and divine life and what we're going through as human beings, what each of us may be experiencing in our life is, it is the classroom that we're in. It is the opportunities for us to rise up in consciousness. It's the opportunity to step out of a victim consciousness and step into verity consciousness of knowing that oneness and consciously living from that oneness. Now, in practice, we're going to float in and out of those, right? We're probably, some might, but not all of us. We won't always be in that higher state of consciousness, of bliss, of knowing that oneness, because life happens. But our goal here is to do life a little bit better, as Rusty said. Right? To step into life with these spiritual principles and allow them to guide us a little bit more. So we have some practice this week in our release and renew process. And I want to step through these and allow you to think about how they might apply to you in your life. Because unless it's applicable, unless we put it into practice, right, it's just words. It's just a little, zeros and ones on our website of John saying things. But until we put it into practice, that's when it becomes true for us. And that's when we really begin to feel and experience and to know that essence. So one of our biggest challenges is that, especially when we're talking about working with someone else and recognizing that that divinity within somebody else, that untouched spot within somebody else who we just don't like. One of the biggest challenges is that's hard work. And it's hard work because we're putting so much emphasis and attachment on them behaving the way that we want them to behave. As Emily Cady said, it does away with that desire within us that person unfold their life in the way that I think is right, and allows them to be their own student in life. Now just think about how your relationships might shift a little bit if we looked at it that way. Now, when we come up upon that challenge, right, of this is really hard for some of these people, what sets in? It's like, I don't have time. It's too much energy. Maybe a sense of apathy sets in. Maybe it's I'll start tomorrow sets in. And so that sense of that inertia, right, that gravity that's holding us back, that apathy creates that sense of I'm not moving anywhere. I'm not growing. I'm not doing anything. Someone else can do it. So we're going to need to release that sense of apathy. Without any blame, shame, or guilt, just notice, I'm stuck again. I'm stuck in my ways. I'm stuck in my patterns. Let me step out of those patterns. I'm going to release that sense of apathy, and I'm going to renew my sense of zeal and enthusiasm for life. Now, if you're watching my Release and Renew Thought for Today videos every morning on our website, you might have gone through this. You might have heard this practice. What can you do today that you know that you want to do? Maybe it's a goal, maybe it's a dream, maybe it's just simply getting up and getting out and going to the store and interacting with somebody without being grumpy. That was me a few weeks ago. So how can I do that? Well, we release that apathy, that uncaringness, and renew ourselves in this idea of zeal and enthusiasm. Renew ourselves in the idea that we are spiritually growing and that I can show up with this energy. Imagine what it would be like if you went to the grocery store with just a little bit more, I'm not talking about a lot, just a little more zeal and enthusiasm. If you gave too much zeal and enthusiasm for picking out peaches, there might be a phone call happening in the background. If you want to express the zeal and enthusiasm in your home, maybe you should talk to whoever else is in your home, or maybe you should talk to your neighbors if they might hear you getting too much zeal or too much enthusiasm. I don't know if there's too much. I think there is too much if we don't apply it in the right way. So with wisdom, we apply our zeal and enthusiasm for life. What does life have to offer me today? What can I learn from this experience of life today? I'm excited to hear and see and feel and live the curriculum. So it means we have to get up and we have to move forward. And as my dad would always say, it's time to attack the world with vigor. Get up there and go. That's our first practice, releasing apathy and renewing our sense of zeal and enthusiasm. Our second practice, releasing the fear of lack. In knowing our oneness, that we're one with the source and substance of all there is, that there is enough in the world. There is enough food to feed everybody, right? There's enough ideas out in the world for me to make a living in a new and different way that maybe I had before. Whatever we are thinking is limited, like for a while we were thinking toilet paper was limited, and we have toilet paper again. So for a while it was limited, but it was a temporary thing because the idea is still there and people are still moving and you have the opportunity to look at it a different way. I'm not going to go any further in that metaphor. Anyway. So, but we're releasing that fear of lack. So lack is the idea that, there's not enough in the world, in my life. Lack is the idea that there's not enough in my paycheck or not enough in my bank account or not enough food or not enough friends or not enough, people listening to what I think they should be doing. There's just not enough in the world. That's our sense of lack. And we will have lack. When we have goals, we're looking to accomplish something different because we're not there yet. And that's okay. We might have a vision of having a new house or a vision of having a new job or a vision of having a new experience of retiring. And however that vision unfolds, we get to unfold it in cooperation. We get to co-create that when we look at it from the idea that there is plenty of substance out there for me to create that. When I don't think there's plenty of substance or ideas or things within me to move forward and create that, that's my sense of lack. Now, fear of lack happens when we take the worst that could happen because of that. Fear of lack comes into play when we're worried about, well, if we peak again, I'm going to run out of toilet paper. Fear of lack, and what does that do to our life? If we're so tied up in these fears of what may or may not happen. This fear that we're lacking something, what might happen if I don't get something new. So all we're doing then is focusing on that fear and that frustration. So our life becomes focused and centered around what is and isn't there, instead of where are the opportunities. So we'll release that fear of lack and we renew our awareness of abundance in my life. Whenever you're feeling or believing that there's lack in your world, look for the abundance. You may be feeling that at the moment, you don't have enough of this, but you might have an abundance of that. So put your focus on where you are abundant. Put your focus on that abundant flow of the universe within your life. Put your focus on how you can take those ideas, that abundance flow, and implement it in your life and make it real for yourself. Shift our focus out of the fear of lack and into the abundance that is already present. The principle of abundance, that there is enough, that there is enough substance in the world that we can take and shape, and together we can reform this world into a more peaceful, a more cooperative, a more joyful experience for all. So we're going to release our fear of lack, and we're going to renew our mind in this idea of abundance in our lives. Next, release that sense of worry. How many of you can add another minute to your life by worrying? Release it. All it does is it drags us down. All it does is it puts us back into that victim consciousness, into that sense of lack and that fear of lack, which creates that sense of apathy, which holds us back, grounds us. Tomorrow. Let go of that worry. Let go of those things that are dragging us into the past, that are dragging us into the future, that are catastrophizing our future. Let go of the worry and renew our sense and faith in divine order, the orderly expression of life. As life goes through its expression, we are a part of it. And when we align ourselves with divine order, we are then co-creators of our world. We're then participants in it. We are then creating and expressing this idea of oneness in our lives. I'd like to move to our affirmation. And I'm going to read it once and then invite you to affirm it with me. I release apathy. I renew zeal and enthusiasm. I release fear, and I renew my awareness of abundance in my life. I release any sense of worry, and I renew my faith in divine order. I am centered and connected. I am one with the perfect whole. Would you affirm that with me together? I release apathy. I renew my zeal and enthusiasm. I release the fear of lack. I renew my awareness of abundance in my life. I release any sense of worry. I renew my faith in divine order. I am centered and connected. I am one with the perfect whole. And with a nice, deep, cleansing breath, allow those ideas to be one with you. Allow that idea of oneness, your oneness with that beautiful energy that is always creating in, through, and as you. That is who you are. Awareness of that oneness with each other. That divine essence that's within someone else. That divine impulse that is guiding someone else. Letting go of any expectations that we have and just focus on that. Let's practice that now in our time of meditation and affirmative prayer. I'll invite you to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath as we move into this time and allow your body to settle, allow your emotions to settle and your mind to settle. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or simply soften your gaze as we move from an experience of the outer into an experience of that divine, pure place within us, in the stillness, in the silence. With each breath, we move deeper into that oneness, into that awareness that we are one. With each breath, we recognize that place within us that is pure, that is whole spiritually, that is untouched. And so we allow our thoughts to settle. We allow our emotions to settle, just being in this resting in the stillness, being with our breath. peace in that center, in the stillness, in the silence. I release apathy, and I renew my zeal and enthusiasm. I release fear of lack, and I renew my awareness of abundance in my life. I release any sense of worry, and I renew my faith in divine order. I am centered and connected. I am one with the perfect whole. And with a nice, deep cleansing breath, we give thanks and we celebrate by singing the Alleluia. And with a nice deep cleansing breath, let's move into a time of affirmative prayer as we hold all of the prayers in our prayer chest in our hearts. If there is somebody who you hold in prayer, I invite you to bring their name to mind or say their name out loud now. For all of the prayers that we hold in our hearts, for all of the prayers in our prayer chest, we know that divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. That energy of faith and love is moving through each person in each situation, revealing the good that is inherent, revealing the lesson, revealing the path for growth and unfolding of that spiritual essence within them. We hold the same prayer for all of those who are supporting us through this pandemic, all of the first care responders, the doctors and nurses and people that are supporting us and helping us to be healthy and whole. We surround them with our love and our gratitude. And we surround every person who's been affected by COVID-19 in one way or the other. We surround them with our love as well, seeing them uplifted and discovering that spiritual magnificence that is within each one. And we hold this same prayer for our world, national, state, and local leaders, seeing them making wise and loving decisions for peace on earth, goodwill, equality, and justice for all people. And for this time together, for this co-creation, this celebration that we do together every Sunday, we are joyfully grateful. We are richly, richly blessed. We say thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Amen.
It is the first Sunday of the month, and we are pleased to celebrate this Sunday everyone who has a birthday in March. If you do have a birthday in March, you can just stay open to this wonderful blessing that we will send your way as we join, as I invite Margot to lead us in singing Happy Birthday to You.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, all of you wonderful March birthdays. Hey, that's me too. We're so glad that you're with us today, and we wish you all the love and blessings. And I have a poem for you. a birthday poem. This is one of my mom's. This is yesterday's daily poem that Mom received. It's called Loving Smiles by Joyce Riley. Smiles multiply when you use them, so don't ration or refuse them. With caring and compassion, make loving smiles a daily fashion. And so it is. Well, Unity Palo Alto is committed to helping you discover that spiritual magnificence that's within you and to live from that magnificence every day. We're so grateful that you're here with us today. And we now step into that spiritual practice of living in the flow of abundance. What am I saying? Stepping into that spiritual practice of living into the flow of abundance. Unity Palo Alto is here because of your generous donations. And there's so many ways for us to support our spiritual community and support our spiritual center. In fact, I was speaking to one person just this last week who recognized and realized that she could make a donation to Unity Palo Alto by taking a tax-free withdrawal from her retirement fund and that going directly to our spiritual center without any tax consequences. So we're so grateful for that. So there's so many ways in which you can support us. The affirmation that we say every day is on the screen, and I invite you to say it with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And so it is.
One day, one day, one day, one day. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for our people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for our people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play one day.
Thank you, Margot. That is one of my favorites. And thank you, Rusty. Thank you, Russell. We're so grateful for your service with us here this morning. Thank you so much. If you feel inspired and uplifted by our service today, we invite you to share our posts on your favorite social media channel and let people know just how much Unity Palo Alto means to you. And now we move to our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Love and blessings, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Namaste.